Mm. Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to wherever you're at in the world. This is Viper Strike 95 Flight Sim, and today we're heading back to the Philippines once again for week 3 of our 4-week journey crossing the islands of the Philippines. And today we're back off where we were landed at last week at Antique Airport at Romeo Papa Victor Sierra, right near to the city of San Jose de Buena Vista, on the island of Panay. It's great to have all you guys here today. This should be a pretty fun flight today. It is shorter than last week's journey. It's in fact the shortest journey we've had so far. And we're actually going to be flying around the Visayas Islands today. This group of chain of islands. So what we're going to be doing today is we have our flight plan here. So we're going to fly from Antique Airport. And then from Antique, we are going to actually fly. Let me pull up the big map. My apologies. There we go. Take off from Antique Airport. We're going to fly across the mountain ranges here of Panay. We're going to fly across quite a few little islands, including Cadiz Islands. This is Cebu Island, home of one of the largest cities in the Visayas, Cebu City. And then we're going to make our first stop here at Daniel Z. Romualdez Airport, Romeo Papa Victor Alpha, located in a city known as Tacloban, and then in the island of Leyte. And then from there, we're going to travel 138 nautical miles north across the Gulf of Leyte, and we're going to make our landing at Legazpi Airport, Romeo Papa Lima Papa, located at Legazpi City. This will conclude week 3, and it will set us up for the epic final week trip through Manila and the rest. So that is going to be today's flight plan. This will complete the flight plan for this flight. Should be a really stunning flight. I want to say hello to all those in the chat and lurking as well. I appreciate you coming by. So today, the plane we're going to take for today's flight is going to be a plane that I haven't taken for a while. This will be my first flight in this back in a couple weeks, and yes, it is the Turbo Arrow. But this isn't like the other Turbo Arrow I flew in Greenland. You see, this is a Turbo Arrow 4. And this particular model is unique for its iconic T-shaped tail. And that's one of the major ways you can tell between a Turbo Arrow 3 and a Turbo Arrow 4. The unique T-tail. But this is all transcended back to the good old Piper Arrow family of planes. And they have been going back since 1950. Over 32,700 of those planes have been built. They can seat 2 to 4 people. Known for their low wing tricycle gear planes. And it's the biggest competitor to the Cessna 172. In the case for the Turbo, it competes with the Bonanza. This particular Turbo Arrow can reach up to nearly 170 knots. Powered by a 200 horsepower Continental TSIO 360 FB engine as well, and it can have a range of nearly 700 nautical miles. Quite the versatile GA plane. It's nice to be back in the little GA planes again. So and this particular plane here is actually made by the good folks at Just Flight. And if you recall, on Sunday I flew their 146. And that thing is really good, but it's nice to get back into a GA product once again. It's been a while since I've been through that. So let's go ahead and get this all set up. So this is what the cockpit looks like in the Just Flight Arrow. You could change quite a bit of features onto this. Particular one We can change the aircraft states. We can change the maintenance. We're going to recharge the battery and all that. We can alter other features on this, like the co-pilot, all the different equipment. We change our navigation, but we're going to stick to the GNS 530 for today's flight. No need for a tow bar or chocks. Tie downs have been removed. So that is going to be for our EFB. So that's going to be for this. So we're going to go ahead and load up the fuel. I think we should be at, let's fill to max so we can be prepared for anything we throw at. Now let's go ahead and get the preparation to start the plane. I do these every single flight. So for the interior, we set down, check, avionics are off. Magnetos are off. The battery switch must be set on. It's been a while since I've been in the Turbo Arrow. Let's go ahead and all this stuff has been cleared. We just push in the circuit breakers are in, alternate air off. Then we need to put the prop RPM at max. Okay. Fuel selector will be in the fuels tank. But we've already set the fuel tank into auto. So that should be set. Now cold engine. This will be a cold start. Fourth, okay. Battery switch will be turned on. Alternator on. And we turn on the beacon light. I believe the beacon's right. Int. Nav light will be on. Now for the fuel pump, we need to use the low primer button. We need to get the mixture to all the way full. That's good. Clear prop. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, it's started. Start is successful. The magnetos are switched. Both. Check. Check. Fuel pump would be set to low. And there we go. Now we got this plane started. Let's go ahead and check landing right required. Avionics will be turned on, which in this case they are on. Radios will be set. It will be turned on. Radios. Transponder is set. Heading indicator. There we go. Now we're ready to get into this. So before we get started, we're going to go implement our flight plan for today. So our flight plan should be, let's go ahead and set this all up. Let's do Romeo Papa Victor Sierra. RPV. RPVA. And finally, the last airport would be RPLP. So that's going to be it. And we're going to go change the CDI, and then that's it. That should be everything. We should go ahead and get this thing taxied to our runway. So for our runway taxi, we're going to take off from runway 18. Don't mind the fuel box. We're going to go take off from runway 18. So going to be a pretty easy takeoff. If anyone wants to join in, I'm on the East USA server. Actually, I should be on Southeast. Actually, yeah, it's Southeast Asia, not East USA. Southeast Asia server. So there it is, Southeast Asia. And the flight plan is actually, here's the route. The route's actually already on the title, but here it is here. Make sure no one else is with us. So we're going to take off from this. I'd like to set the trim. Let's go with 13%. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing into the air. Of the tank, so we're going to go ahead and fly a circuit around the airport. A good way to also build up our altitude. But yeah, these arrows fly really, really nice. This is on live weather, so 800 feet. Looking great. Circle around. Once we do that, we'll get ourselves going in the air. Okay. I guess no one else is gonna come, so I'm gonna go ahead and get back into the GPS. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the autopilot. So I'm using a little trick. The trick you want to do to get to your GPS is you have to set both the heading switch and the nav on this. That will get you to your and that's the key to get the autopilot with this thing. It's a little trick. Yeah, but the course should be 83 degrees. Okay. And our altitude, our safe altitude is 5,500 feet. So once we get 5,500, we can get ready to cruise again. So I hope you guys have had a great day so far on Wednesday. I hope things are going well. I know sometimes things can get a little busy. So for me, I'm doing well. But man, it's beautiful out here today in the Philippines. It's stunning. This country has so much stunning scenery. It's not funny how beautiful the scenery here in the Philippines can really get. It's got islands, jungles. It's got nearly everything you want. So I hope you're all doing well here. We need to climb up to 5,500 feet. Just using that. Okay, gonna go ahead and activate the altitude hold, which is located right in the Piper logo. It's something a lot of people don't realize, but you can actually do all the GPS stuff. I like that Just Flight had little tricks you can do with it. So that will give us the height. And now we can just let it get to a cruise speed. And then I'm going to go ahead and adjust the propeller. Just to not get the RPMs back to the way they should. There. That would be good. Pretty fast and still have a high enough propeller thing to make sure, try to conserve a bit of fuel for today. So, I really appreciate all you guys coming here. It really does mean a lot. So let's see who's flying with us today. Turns out there's no one flying with us today. Kinda odd, no one's with us today. But we can take a look at the scenery. You can definitely tell this is an absolutely beautiful scenery here in the Philippines. Just absolutely incredible. So I really think the scenery here in the Philippines is really underrated. In terms of just actual scenery. It's great to have scenery like this in the sim. It's just, even in a place without a lot of photogrammetry, the sim has so many ways it could just look beautiful. So, I'm doing this again for the reason I'm doing this Philippine flight again is because I'm doing the Philippines Island Hop Achievements for FS Hub. So, FS Hub is where I'm doing a lot of the virtual airline stuff. And traditionally, we already did legs 1, 2, 3, and 4. Today we're going to complete legs 5 and 6, and then next week we'll complete the rest of the legs from our flight to Manila, RPUS, that being all the way located in San Fernando, and then the last one being RPLI, located at Luang City. So that one is going to be pretty cool. But the whole reason I'm doing this FS Hub stuff is because I'm part of Firefly Air. And because I'm with Two-Tone Murphy's group, Firefly Air. So here it is. Just a bit of information about Firefly Air for a lot of people who don't really know. It's a virtual airline on FS Hub, part of the Two-Tone Murphy community. You can join this airline for free. You don't have to pay anything for this. But you get to actually do some airline flights with it. And I think it's a really neat program to do. All you need to do is sign up for the application on the website. You download the land rate monitor, which lets you track not just land rates, but a logbook. And then you need to have FSUI PC or X-Plane UPIC because it works for X-Plane and P3D as well. Two very, very popular things. Currently, right now, the airline has features. The airline itself has had over 150 members right now. Currently, lots of members, including myself. Yours truly. So here it is, Firefly Air. So these are the airlines. We have 150 members. Currently, we've done 2,580 flights, 2,427 hours, over 716,000 nautical miles. And we fly all sorts of things. I mean, we fly all sorts of planes. We also have our own airline achievements. As well. So let's look at the members. So we have, here's a list of our members. Lots of pretty familiar names. I mean, Two-Tone Murphy, Gibbo Ireland, Airlock, Newsfan, Sears T, Ford, Zeus, Two Cats, Concept, Dakey. Lots of pretty known names. I know a lot of these names myself. I've been around the community since February 2021. So here is here's my profile, by the way. So currently for me, I've flown 237 flights, nearly 198 hours of flight, over 65,000 nautical miles of my career. I've completed lots of achievements. I've also visited 150 countries. I've visited 150 countries now. I still have 91 more left to complete 241. Currently, right now, I'm on my free time, touring a lot of Asia. There's many of the Asian achievements on Asia and the Pacific Islands. Trying to get that. Yeah. And what's really cool is on my dashboard, there's also advanced stats, which, for example, I can show the plane I flew the most is the Sakai TBM, followed by the Twin Otter, and then the PMDG 737, Airbus A320, and the Kinger are actually my top 5. A lot of those are doing for either for cheap. Most of the flights are for the achievements. Like the TBM is for the achievements because it goes fast. And it's easy to land. I flew most of my departure and arrivals in the U.S. and UK. I'm at Portugal, Italy, Australia are the top 5. So yeah, these are the advanced profiles. So that's a bit about Firefly Air and what I've been doing for the VA. So I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the slideshow for today. So today's slideshow is going to be about the Vasilas. And specifically, we just took off here from Antique Airport, located in the island of Panay. Panay is the 6th largest island and 4th most populous in the Philippines, with a total land area of 12,011 square kilometers. Has a total population of 4,542,926. This island in particular is bisected by the Central Panay Mountain Range, the longest mountain chain in the island. It also has many rivers, the longest being the Panay River at 104 miles. This island is lent the name to several U.S. Navy vessels, including the USS Panay River gunboat that was involved in the Panay incident that was sunk in 1937. The largest settlement is the city of Iloilo, with a population of 457,000 people. So, a bit of some history about this island. So the island itself has many rivers. Actually, I should change that. So, believe it or not, there really was no accounts of pre-Hispanic Britain. A lot of it has to do with oral traditions here on the island. Oral traditions survived mainly in the text by archaeologist Felipe Jucano. According to the archaeologists, they found 10 days fled Borneo and went to Panay Island, and this book particular, the book goes on detail about their purchase of coastal lands, which they settled from the native Ati people. And they found lots of transcripts and manuscripts about laws, governments, social customs of the early Visayan people from the half of the 13th century. In fact, even in the early part of the Spanish colonization of the Philippines, the Spaniards often used the term Visayan only for these areas, while the people Cebu, Bohol, and Leyte were known as the Pinatabs as well. So they've actually found some pretty interesting manuscripts and stuff. There's no like traditional records in the Philippines. Then during the early part of the Spanish colonization of the Philippines, during the early colonial period of the archipelago, the Spaniards led by Miguel Lopez de Lacapazi transferred their camp from Cebu to Panay in 1569. And then on June 5th, Guido de Lanzaveras described their encounter with the Portuguese and the danger of that attack from moving their camp from Cebu to Panay, which they considered safer. And apparently it was in Panay where they conquered the islands of the Luzon on May 8th, 1570. So it was the encounter with the Portuguese that led the Spanish to actually take over the Luzon Islands. And if you don't know what the Luzon Islands are, let me call right now. Let me show you what the Luzons are again. The Luzon is all of this. It's the top half of the islands. So right there's the Luzons. Pretty neat stuff. Here. So from Panay, so from there, so after this, so we go back to a couple decades later. So there's a lot of accounts of the earlier Spanish settlements, including the island being really fertile, as Panay is really abundant in rice, swine, fowls, and honey. It also lots of different customs and stuff. But World War II, this island became pretty important in World War II. Mainly, it was invaded by the Japanese to secure the rest of the Visayas Islands chain. So the Japanese invaded there on April 16th, 1942, as they landed on San Jose de Buena Vista. However, guerrilla forces under Colonel Macario Peralta Jr. would liberate most of the island on December 20th, 1944. And the remaining liberation happened on March 18, 1945. And for the rest of it, Panay didn't really have much history. From what I read, there wasn't much history about the island afterwards. So that talks about the history of the island. So that is going to be, just take a break. So let's go ahead and play some music then. So yeah, this scenery here, extremely beautiful scenery here in the Philippines. So yeah, I hope you guys have had a great week so far. So this has been about the island of Panay here in the Philippines. So from here, we're going to travel to one of the other islands, Bacolod. So I hope it's good to have all you guys in chat. So I want to ask you a question though. So the Honda Jet just got its way into the marketplace the other day. Actually got here yesterday. The Honda Jet, which is a brand new business jet that just came out. I know Fabio did a flight with it yesterday, and he really liked it. And for 25 bucks, that's great value. And apparently, Marwan actually worked for 3 years getting this plane into the sim. And it's also great. It's also for Xbox, which is huge, because Xbox hasn't had a lot of great, products on Xbox. So to see this come to Xbox as well, I mean, along with the Sting, I think is a great thing for the sim to make things for the marketplace. Yes, the updates would take longer, but making it accessible cannot be an understatement how important it is. Hey, DH Paradox, good to have you here. My good man, DH Paradox, I hope you're doing well. So we're flying in the Philippines right now. We're doing it for Firefly Air. Let me give, I gave you a shout out there, DH Paradox. He does stream. He's a good friend of mine on the channel. I hope things are going well with the streams. I know on Splasher stream, you've been having issues with it, so you've been trying to reinstall the sim again. That's not fun to reinstall the whole thing again. Yes, more content for Xbox is good. Trust me, it feels like Xbox is just got left behind compared to a lot of the other stuff. Xbox, it's nice that Xbox is finally getting some more stuff. I mean, with all the great PC products coming out, like the 7.3, the 146, all those are on PC. It's great to see Xbox finally get some good planes. I hope with the new WASM stuff, they'll get more planes for Xbox. Ah, good. I'm glad you got that working now. Good. I'm glad that's working for you. I would hate to see that stuff not working. It's just, yeah, I don't like, I feel for him when it doesn't work. Even though it works for me, I mean, it'd be really unselfish if it'd be really selfish if I didn't believe so. So you have the H-Jets in the sim. I know SoFly is bringing in their new Hayward weather stuff again, which is Storm, which lets you create historic hurricanes and storms. Brings it to the sim. Latin VFR releases their Nellis Air Force Base, which is all the way in Vegas. So yeah, I think everything's going pretty well for the add-ons and stuff. So I'm actually gonna go take a bottle break. I have to go to the restroom, so I'll be back in 1 second. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the next set of sites. This is the Visayas. So what the heck is the Visayas Islands? Well, the Visayas are a group of islands located in the Philippines. They're in the midsection of the Philippines. Now, these islands in particular, the Visayas are consist of several islands, mainly the most well-known being Panay, Negros, Cebu, Bohol, Leyte, and Samar. So they include provinces of Palawan, Romblon, and Masbate, who identified the Visayan language. There's three main regions: the Western, Central, and Eastern Visayas. Total island population would be around 21 million people as well. And there's a ton of different ethnic groups living in those islands. And the history of this island probably goes back to the Spanish expedition there. But they first encountered Western civilization when Magellan reached the island of Pobohan in eastern Samar in 1521. And then later, the island chain would be part of the Spanish colony of the Philippines. So the islands is intertwined with the history of the Philippines itself, and with 3 centuries of contact with the Spanish Empire and the U.S., the islands today share a culture tied to the sea, and layer with influences from China, India, Japan, and the U.S. So the first Filipino people that encountered by the Magellan expeditions were the Visayans from the island of Suluan. So Magellan actually describes the people from there as tattooed with gold earrings and armlets and kerchiefs around their head. And they talked about like the different skins, tattoos, and clothing that the indigenous people wore. They also described the Queen of Cebu as being pretty. And then during the 16th century began the mark of Christianization with the baptism of the Raja Hubagdan, who was later baptized as Don Carlos, and about 800 native Cebuanos from the Cebu Islands. And the Christianization of the Visayans and Philippines in general is commemorated by the Atihan Festival of Aklan and other festivals. And by the 17th century, the Visayans have already took part in many religious traditions from the Spanish. One of those, Pedro Cunzagod, along with Diego Luis de San Vitores, were both martyred in Guam trying to preach their Christianity to the Chamorro people. By the end of the 19th century, the Spanish Empire was weakening after a series of wars with the American territories, and the surge of new ideas from the outer world, thanks to liberalization of trade, resulted in a relatively large middle class known as the Enlightenment. And this became a new generation of political visionaries and to achieve their independence from the colonial rule of the Spanish. Some of those prominent leaders included were Visayans themselves. And among them was Francisco Lopez Jehena, who established the publication La Solidaridad, the Solidarity. Most of these revolutionaries would continue their fight for independence during the Spanish-American War until the Philippine-American War. However, after the Philippine-American War, the Americans believed that these new they saw the integral part of the indigenous elites to local affairs. The haciendos of the class with the sugar industry, so the Americans believed that they would be strategic elements in the political hold with the new Philippines would be very important in drafting a separate colonial constitution. This ensured that the island of Negros would be dominated by an indigenous civilian government, in contrast to the rest of the colonialist controlled areas by the Philippine Commission. During this period, the islands of Samar, Leyte, and Bilaran were directly governed through the Malolos Republic as well. which was another little area in the Philippines itself. Now during modern times, there have been 3 presidents from the areas of the Visayas: the Cebuano Sergio Alcema, the Capiazon Manuel Roxas, who, by the way, was the first president of the independent Philippines, and Volcano Carlos P. Garcia. In addition, the islands have produced 3 vice presidents, 4 senate presidents, 8 speakers to the House, and 5 presidential spouses, including, infamously, Imelda Marcos as well. Throughout the centuries, many notable foreigners have settled in some of the cities. Most notably, the Chinese have settled here, and as a result, the Filipino Chinese have assimilated to mainstream society as well. So that's a bit about the history of those islands. The Philippine people. Yeah, the Philippines people are known for their hospitality. Absolutely. The Philippines are absolutely well known for their hospitality. It's something they're very, very famous for. And I mean, there's a lot of culture about the Visayans. I mean, tattooing is a big part of the Philippines. Tattooing's been a part of the indigenous people for hundreds of years. But that's been long since gone after Christianization. And then there's also they also do lots of festivals here in the Visaya Islands, including the Ati Altan, which is in Panay. And most of these festivals have a strong association with the Roman Catholic Church, despite the apparent integration of ancient folklore from all the different previous religions. They also do lots of festivals known as the San Duo Festival, which celebrates the Philippine history. There's also lots of literature. Some of the earliest works were documented since the Spanish colonial times in the 16th century. Also, there's lots of cinema, especially in the 1940s and 70s, that were produced here in the Visayan Islands. So yeah, these are kind of been some things about the islands. I grew up with the Philippine neighbors. Yeah, hospitality is a big deal in the Philippines. People in the Philippines are such hospitable people. And I think that's what makes the Philippines such a really interesting country to visit. I know it may not be the safest country to visit, but I know the Philippines have enjoyed some great hospitality. And I mean, that's great to have that in a country to visit. So let's go ahead and look outside for a little bit. So we're now heading, there's quite a few islands with us. Lots of little islands here. I mean, if it's one thing I do like about the Philippines, there's so many little islands to actually check out and visit. I love flying over the island hopping stuff. Just love doing that. It's just such a great place to fly. yeah, very beautiful areas. So I did watch the Top Gun movie on Friday, and that was awesome. The new Top Gun Maverick. I highly recommend you guys check it out. I mean, all the scenes were really good. The acting, I loved it. Just really loved it as well. So, to our right is one of the other islands. I think it's hard to see with the clouds, but to our right is actually Cebu Island. Cebu basically is the island. So this island here is Cebu. That's one of the provinces. Its capital is Cebu City, known as the Queen City of the South, which is actually not only is it the oldest city in the Philippines, but it was actually the first capital of the Philippines as well. While we won't be visiting there today, unfortunately, that doesn't mean we can't be seeing the city as well. I tried the Stratosphere challenge though. Oh yeah. Yeah, working that Dark Star, man. That plane is insane. The Dark Star, it's insane. You would have to, that thing can go Mach 10. I mean, it's perfect for doing the transatlantic flights in record time. But I mean, yeah, in order to even get those scramjets, you would have to go Mach 3. So you have to go up. You have to climb up first to a pretty high altitude. Then climb back down, climb back up, and try to build your speed with the afterburners. And then you go up to, you have to turn on the beacon lights, turn on the fuel cell, and then once you get Mach 3, activate the scramjets, and you'd be flying pretty high. But yeah, this Dark Star can also be kind of tricky to control. I know it's fly-by-wire, which means it can be stable. It's actually a really stable plane once you get cruising. It's actually very stable. But yeah, it's tough to complete the challenge and all that. You watch the new Top Gun movie as well. Yeah, it's great. I haven't done some of the other challenges yet. I mean, I've just been doing lots of BA flights, DH, so that's why I haven't been doing very much of that as well. So, by the way, guys, if you haven't done so yet, don't be afraid to visit my Discord. If you like what you see, you can press the follow button on the channel to get the latest and all sorts of content and everything. Oh, I tried to register for FS Hub, but not get an email. Oh. Let me pull this up, shall we? Oh, FS Hub. So let's go with to the FS Hub. So, I know it's my email and all that. It's on MER's website. You need to sign up for a profile to the profile. Send a message to FS Hub, but there's no Discord. Weird. Yeah, they're probably having an email issue, DH. I think we just wait for a little bit. Wait till they get the issue fixed, and then we can do it again. I mean, I'm sorry this is happening, DH, but I believe that's probably the only way they're going to get it fixed. So there's Cebu province, to our right. The previous guy got a response quickly. I think you need to send one of the guys a DM or something. I would just be a little. I don't want to be mean, but I mean, I think it's just good to be a little patient. Yeah, I would just wait for a little bit. So, so once we get past through Cebu Island, we'll be heading to a pretty well-known island known as Leyte. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. So let's go ahead and talk about Leyte for a bit. The island itself. Let's go ahead and talk about this for a bit. So what the heck is Leyte, you may ask? So, Leyte is actually one of the islands here at the Visayas group. It's the 8th largest and 6th most populous island in the country. It has 2,626,970 people as of 2020. Most of the inhabitants here in the island are farmers, with fishing being a supplementary activity. Rice and corn are the main food crops, while they can grow cash crops like coconuts, abaca, tobaccos, bananas, and sugarcane. Politically, the island's divided into two provinces, the northern Leyte and southern Leyte. But one of the most important cities here is Tacloban, on the eastern shore, at the northwest corner of the island, and Omak on the west coast. The island is most notable for its geothermal electric power plants near Omak. So let's talk about just a brief history. In the pre-colonial period, the island was actually known as Tendaya, and it grew rapidly after 1900, particularly on the valleys. And before it was colonized by Spain back in the 16th century, the island was once home to the indigenous Animas Warrays to the east and other Animas groups to the west. However, the island is most famous, though, for World War II, as this island plays into the role of the reconquest of the Philippines. On October 20th, 1994, General Douglas MacArthur waded ashore in Leyte, saying, "I have returned." But the Japanese could not give up so easily, as the ensuing battle of Leyte proved. The convergence of naval forces resulted in the 4-day Battle of Leyte Gulf, which is known as the largest naval battle in history, which ultimately was won by the Americans. As the U.S. dealt massive casualties to the Japanese, including destroying 3 of their battleships, 3 light carriers, a fleet carrier, 10 cruisers, and 11 destroyers, along with 300 planes and 12,500 casualties of the Japanese. Only about 3,000 casualties of the Americans. So yeah, that's a bit about the island of Leyte. So yeah, just to give you a brief thing about the history of that island. In addition to this as well, Leyte is also known for quite a few other things. The MacArthur Memorial Landing, the MacArthur Landing Memorial National Park was located here, as well as a statue of General MacArthur, liberated the Philippines. There's also one of the most popular tourist attractions, the Magano Volcano National Park. As well. That's another pretty well-known area. And of course, in pop culture, the 1959 film from Japan, Nobi, The Fires of on the Plain, were set here, and it was remade in 2014. Was filmed there in the Philippines as well. So yeah, a bit about Leyte, about the island itself, and it's actually right ahead of us is Leyte. We should be getting there pretty quickly. But yeah, the views from out here are just absolutely stunning. I mean, the views out here are amazing out here in the Philippines. It's just, this country has so much natural beauty and scenery. It's remarkable. So here it is, guys. Here's the island of Leyte, right dead ahead of us. Man, I love flying this Arrow. The Arrow is such a beautiful plane to fly. I don't know why I waited that long to get the Arrow, but absolutely worth it as a plane. So, yeah, basically everything's going great. So let's look outside the scenery. Let's go ahead and see what the scenery looks like out here for the twin, for the Turbo Arrow. sounds so good. So, So one final slide for this leg of the flight. We got one more slide coming. This is about Tacloban. So we got actually two more. So Tacloban is actually the largest island in the island of Leyte, with a population of 251,881 people, making it the most populous city in the East Visayas. It is located 360 miles southeast of the capital and largest city of the Philippines, Manila. It was briefly the capital of the Philippines from October 20th, 1944 to 1945 on February 27th. It ranks as the fifth most competitive city in the Philippines by the Asian Institute of Management. In 2013, the city was largely destroyed by Typhoon Haiyan, one of the most powerful cyclones ever recorded in history. On January 17, 2015, Pope Francis visited the city during his papal visit to the Philippines and held a mass of around 30,000 people in front of the airports of Daniel Z. Ramona's airport. It was first known back in the days as Kanka Batak, as allusion to the first inhabitants, and it was first established as the capital of the province in 1770. The island was invaded by the Japanese forces on May 25th, 1942. Signaling there began the 2-year occupation of the island of Leyte. They fortified the city and improved the airfield as well. And it was the first, and Leyte was the first island to be liberated by the combined Filipino and American troops. In fact, Douglas MacArthur landed at the Tacloban and Palo beaches. So yes, General MacArthur actually landed on this beach. So actually, after the liberation, as well, MacArthur even returned back here in 1960, and it became a highly urbanized city in October 4, 2008 by President Gloria Macapagal. Then it was infamously destroyed by Typhoon Haiyan in November 8, 2013. It completely destroyed the city. Now, thankfully, a lot of this, some of this stuff has been rebuilt since then. And it's been since one of the fastest growing cities in the entire Philippines. It's home to many festivals, mainly on June 30th. There are multiple week-long celebrations all throughout the city. one of those being the Superian Regatta, which is a race of one-man sailboats around the scenic Leyte Gulf. And it was done not using paddle, but skills and techniques to maneuver the sail. And it's been done now for its 32nd year and counting. Which is pretty cool, actually, about that. Pretty neat. And there is one final slide to cover here for this leg, and this is Daniel L. Ramirez Airport. So this airport, Romeo Papa Victor Alpha. This airport serves Tacloban. It is the main gateway from Manila and Cebu to the eastern side of the Visayas. It's a Class 1 airport, a major domestic airport by the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines. As of 2017, it is the 8th busiest and 3rd fastest growing airport in the Philippines. It was named after Daniel Z. Romualdez, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives. It's one of 2 airports named after a member of his family. The other one being Imelda R. Marcos Airport in Mani. On November 8, 2013, it was largely destroyed by Typhoon Haiyan, and the airport reopened on January 17, 2015, and has since been building up quite a bit since the days of the typhoon. Oh, here's another really interesting fact about this airport. This airport can actually handle planes as big as the C-17 Globemaster. And if you guys never heard of the C-17 Globemaster, let me tell you, that plane is a pretty big plane. I mean, it has a wingspan of 169 feet. It has a range of like 2,000 nautical miles. And that thing can carry an Abrams tank. It can carry 2 Bradley armored vehicles, 102 paratroopers as well. And that's a pretty big plane, and it can actually land at this airport. In fact, one of those from the Royal Australian Air Force actually made an emergency landing at the airport. Currently, the major airlines that fly here, mainly the Philippine Airlines flies here from Manila and Cebu, and then Cebu Pacific, one of the low-cost carriers, operates from Manila. So that's it. That's going to be all the slides covered for this leg. Isn't the C-17 a STOL plane? For something as big as it is, yeah, 3,500 feet. Yeah, the C-17 is technically STOL for a jet plane of this size. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big plane. In fact, this airport can actually handle a plane that size. It's pretty impressive. But I mean, it makes sense. It carries a lot of smaller planes. So, okay, guys. Let me go ahead and check on something. So let's pull up the tutorial panel. Let's go ahead and put the airport information. RPVA. RPVA. Accept. Load. Let's check weather. Okay, nothing for the ICAO, unfortunately. So no METAR, no nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and go ahead and descend to a lower altitude. But yeah, Boeing makes a lot of different models of planes. I mean, they make all sorts of defense planes, commercial. I'm a big fan of Boeings myself. I love the Boeing planes. They even make their own business jets, but the ones I like are the freighter planes. All the freighters, like especially the 747 freighter, because I see those all the time out of Louisville on the 748 freighters. And I mean, they have crazy range. So we're going to get that percent, 5,000 feet. But yeah, it's beautiful out here in the Philippines. It's just stunning. So guys, I think it'll be a good time. We can go ahead and predict our landings for today's, for this leg. So type in exclamation point predict and put a negative number, and we can predict our landings for today. For this leg, at least for this leg. But yeah, this is Legapazzi City. Looks really nice from the air. Looks great. So I think, since I don't really know the wind, I'm probably going to land runway 36. We're going to make the landing from there. Shut down the throttle power even further. going to go ahead and put the altitude hold back. So our airport is in front of us. So we're going to be flying around the city for a bit, and then we'll make a scenic landing approach here. Be nice and beautiful. It'll be a great way to land. So definitely a beautiful area to end this leg of the trip. Okay, I think it's time we finally disabled the autopilot. Autopilot off. And let's go ahead and get ready to land. There's the airport. Send careful. Man, look at the view. That's just... what a view. What a view beat from the Gulf. We'll go ahead and deploy flaps. So I'm planning on for next week, once we hit to Manila, I'm going to talk about the city and the history of Manila, some of the iconic landmarks we'll be seeing in the city. I'm going to go visit. Whoa. Yeah, there's a bit of wind. I got it down. Nice. Okay. Put the flaps. Get this parked into the parking lot. And then I'll take a bit of a quick break. And then we'll get back to complete the second leg of the trip. And that will be for today's stream. Let's go ahead and get this parked. Okay, and that's going to be parked. So welcome to Daniel L. Raminguez Airport, located in the city of Tacloban. Just absolutely stunning scenery here today. Just stunning scenery, guys. So I'll be heading right back. I gotta go take a restroom break, and I'll be right back. So, see you in a few minutes. Hey guys, I'm back. Hey, first time chat DC Viper. Good to have you here, and thank you for the follow, DC Viper. I'm surprised you haven't followed my channel yet. Sorry about DC, I had to take a bio break, and then I had to get me something for a drink. But it's great to have you here, DC Viper. We're going to go ahead and complete leg 2 of our trip. So we're going to be we're doing this for Firefly Air. I'll show you more when we get back into the air. Let me go ahead and get ready for the next flight plan. So we're going to go ahead. I've already done that for Firefly Air. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into the air. Yeah, no worries. So we're going to take off back here, and we're going to go ahead and take off again. We're going to go ahead and take off back on runway 36. So runway 36 is where we're going to be taking off. DC Viper, if you want to join me, here's my server. I'm on Southeast Asia, and here's the route for today's flight. There we go. Yeah, I just had to replay the alert since I've been gone. Thanks, but I got you all while working. No worries, DC Viper. So we're gonna go ahead and get this plane off. $40, $50, $60, $70 knots. So go ahead and save off the landing gear. So let's go ahead and make a circuit. But yeah, the Philippines is absolutely stunning, DC Viper. I think it's one of the more underappreciated, areas in all of Asia to fly over. I mean, there's a lot of great places in Asia to fly over. Like, some areas of China are really nice to fly over. I mean, Japan's really great to fly over. I mean, Indonesia's fantastic as well. Indonesia's all the way further south. That's great. I know Taiwan, from what I've heard, from when I saw Scruffy stream, that's really cool to fly over. But I think the Philippines is, I think, an excellent city as well to fly over as well. I don't think I've ever tried flying in China. Now, a lot of China's flat, but if you fly to the western side of China, like fly to, let's say, if you fly near, I think southwest China, like in Sichuan and all that, I think those are all great places to fly in the country. So I'm going to go ahead and start now engaging the autopilot. Here's a little key. Set this to nav, engage autopilot, and engage heading switch. Xi'an? Yeah, Xi'an's definitely interesting. Let me pull from my map to show you where would be a good place to fly in China. So let me go ahead and pull. I got a little nav map set up. Okay, technically, okay, it's tracking my position in the Philippines. So right in this area, D Queen. Down this area is some of the best flying you can get in China. Right here, lots of mountains. You got rivers, lakes. Those are really good areas in China. But let me tell you, I got a little bit of a hot take. I think one of the best places to fly in all of Asia can be found right here in Laos. Laos has some excellent scenery. When I flew there on one of my streams, Laos is unbelievably stunning. Like, you have tons of hills and mountains, lakes. Laos is really underrated in the sim for scenery. Laos is fantastic. I mean, not many people know about the country, but it's great. It's one of the best places in Asia to fly in the whole simulator. Very underappreciated. I had a professor who did a bunch of, yeah, I may have to try and get the Twin Iron to on a mountaintop Special Forces base. Yep, there's a lot of those high altitude airports here in China, but to be fair, there's a lot of those high altitude airports because with the crazy high elevation, especially once you get to Tibet, there are some crazy high airport elevations, which means expect longer takeoffs and longer landings because of it. So, okay guys, now let's go ahead and talk about something else too. We're about to approach the island of Samar. That's to our right is Samar. So, Samar Island, let's talk about this. Hey, friends of all, welcome to the chat, my good friend. Friends of all, good to have you here. Can you recommend a specific location of airport in Laos? Good question. Let me pull up my map again. Oh man, the battle, yes, the Battle of Lady Gulf. Yes, that's a very famous World War II battle. Okay, let me show you a good place to take off here from Laos. I took off from Victor Lima's Sierra Papa. So I did this route to here, then I did a long flight from here to here, and then from here to the capital of Vientiane. That's the flight route I did, which is here. This is the destination. I did this. This, and this was my flight plan for the Laos trip, friends all. But it basically went through quite a few national parks. It went through rivers, mountains, forests and jungles. You get to see the tallest mountain in the country, more rivers, reservoirs, and then a beautiful landing right onto the capital of Vientiane, located on the banks of the Mekong River. So that is, yeah, that's a great flight plan. That's what I did with the Bonanza, and Laos was just stunning in Laos. Beautiful. And what's great about Laos is it's not really been explored much by people. People haven't really been through the country yet. Which means you get a lot of the natural beauty in Laos. Pretty crazy. Where is Task Force 34? The World Wonders. Yeah, I guess so too. Yeah, I guess the world's still wondering as well. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about my slideshow. Now, DC Fiber, since you've been here for the first time, this is my slideshow stuff. I do research for every single one of the flights. So we're going to the island of Samar. Basically, Samar is one of the larger islands in the Philippines. In particular, Samar is actually the third largest island in the entire country. And remember, the Philippines has over 7,000 islands. So this is the third largest. It's also the 7th most populous island in the country, with a total population of 1,909,537. There are 3 provinces that divide the island. Samar, which is the western 2/5 of the island, northern Samar, and eastern Samar. Now, a third of the island itself is actually protected as a natural park, known as the Samar Island National Park. And it's actually the largest contiguous tract of old-growth forest in the country. And it's the largest protected area, terrestrial protected area in the entire country. It's got lots of biodiversity in there, just like the rest of the Philippines. And this island has quite a bit of history too. Believe it or not, Samar was actually the first island to be sighted by the Spanish expedition by Ferdinand Magellan. There was a message from Nimitz that said the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Halsey sent his battleships after Kurata's main surface force, when they were in fact kicking the crap out of some destroyers and escort carriers they were covering the landing beaches. Oh yeah. Yes, that was one of the decisions from the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Yep. Yeah, apparently Halsey ignored his reconnaissance craft at night. So, yeah, they actually did their own. They only did friendly fire and destroyed. So yeah, but this island has a bit of history. This was the first island to be sighted in the Philippines by Ferdinand Magellan, and he sailed there from the Mariana Islands. And he actually charted the islands, called them San Lazaro. And they later called it the Filipinas, which became known as the Philippines, funnily enough. Years later, the other Spanish expeditions arrived on the island. And he wrote that a Samar Day-2 by the name of Iberian rode out of a Spanish vessel in 1483, called her Gold. Also, in addition, the final campaign of the Philippine-American War took place here in the island and is known for one of the best known and most notorious in the entire war, resulting in a lot of the violent clashes around this area. And thousands of Filipinos were slaughtered on the island by American Marines. And in the history of the war, American military historian Brian McAllister Lynn said Samar cast a pall on the Army's achievement for generations about the Philippine War. And finally, in World War II, the waters off the east side of the island hosted the Battle of Samar, which is beyond the coast. And that island in particular was very well known as the U.S. Navy escorts fought off the entire center force of the Imperial Japanese Navy, which also included the Japanese battleship Yamato. And if you guys never heard of the Yamato, for those who aren't familiar with World War II history, the Yamato was probably the largest battleship ever constructed. It was the heaviest and most powerful battleship ever constructed. That thing displaced 72,000 tons, and they were armed with 9 18.1-inch Type main guns, the largest guns ever mounted to a battleship. I mean, it's a huge battleship. Wait, you've been to that museum? Really? That's cool. That's cool. It's in Korea, Japan. Actually, speaking about Japan, DC Viper, after I get done with the Philippine Islands tour, I'm going to be heading to Japan next and explore about Japan as a country, which would be really cool. Oh, and speaking of which, let me show you something, actually, DC Viper. So I'm part of a virtual airline called Firefly Air. It's on this website here called FS Hub. So this is the two-tone website page for Firefly Air. And it's a virtual airline for FS Hub, and not only is it compatible with MSFS, it works for X-Plane and P3D, which is really nice. It's very accessible, and the best part, you don't have to pay for any of this, which is incredible. Considering how many VA stuff is expensive, it's nice to have something for free. I know Neofly is free, but Neofly is your personal pilot career. This is a VA. And all you have to do is sign up on the website, which is for free. And you can join Murph here, or you can make your own BA if you want to, or you can do personal flights. Then download this thing. It's called a land rate monitor. It is a free tool that lets you monitor and track your flights within the flight simulator. And then once you do that, then you need to download one final thing. And that is the FS-UIPC or the XP-UIPC, because you need that to run the land rate monitor. And this way, and by doing Firefly Air, it lets the community members fly together and all that, which is really cool. And let me show you what this website is. So this is FS Hub. It's used by the cloud, and FS Hub features detailed flight reports, GPS tracking, your own pilot profiles, achievements. You can do unlimited screenshots, API platform integration, and more. And currently there have been over 1 million flights currently, which is really cool. And it's, let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me go back to my profile. So let me go back to my dashboard. So this is what the dashboard would look like on your profile. So you got pilot profile, you can see advanced stats, achievements, countries, and a GPS tracker. So it has logbooks, all that. So I'm going to go over all of it. So let's start with my public profile. So on my public profile, I've done 230 flights, nearly 200 hours. I'm going to reach 200 hours after I get done with this flight, and flying over 65,000 nautical miles. I've currently visited 150 countries out of the 241 to explore. So these are all the countries you can all visit, which is really cool. And I'm going to explore even more countries later. There's also achievements you can do, and there's certain challenges to get these achievements. For example, there are special event achievements, which is limited time stuff. You can do single flight achievements. You can do, for example, let's pick an achievement. I know I completed all these achievements. Let's go with a pretty fun one, actually. Let's go pick, let's see what we, oh, this one would be good. So this one here is this is one of the long haul flights. If you like flying long haul stuff in an airliner, if you got time to, you've got about 8 or so hours to kill, you can attempt this achievement, which is based off a real airline route by Condor Airlines from Frankfurt, Germany, all the way to Whitehorse in northern Canada. It'll take you around 3,932 nautical miles, and I'm one of those people who accomplished that flight, and you can definitely see there are all the other people who achieved this flight. So let's click my thing. So it shows my flight. I took the 787, 35,000 feet, and I landed at negative 437 feet. It's a bit of a harder landing, but it's not that bad. I know I'm not really super great with it. I mean, I've gotten better since this flight. But, and then here's the route. So the route literally takes me, it's got the own flight path. So I literally took off from Germany, flew across the Arctic, including into Greenland, northern Canada, into the Yukon. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, you could do that, assuming if it doesn't CTD. Though, if you want to do shorter ones, there's plenty of really good shorter ones you could do. You could do this one. There is the, this is from Poplar Westway to Rustway, the shortest flight journey. which is about 1.7 nautical miles. And here's something else for your criteria to accomplish it. Your flight distance must not exceed 5 nautical miles. So you might have to fly straight from one island straight to the runway the other and not make it 5 nautical miles. So if you want to do, and believe it or not, in real life, that's the shortest commercial flight. And then finally, we get to the multi-flights. So these are some of the multi-flights. And believe it or not, the Philippines journey is actually the one I'm doing. It's a multi-flight journey. Oh, knock on wood, I don't get CTDs very often. Yeah, I don't get CTDs often either during my flights. So, and we currently fly all the different legs. I've done legs 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm on leg 6, which is what I'm going to end today's flight on. And then next week is finishing the last 3 legs of the trip, is the Philippines. But you can do more. You can do this one. Here's a really short one that's pretty easy, and that is the North Coast 500, which should go around the northern coast of Scotland. And some of these, they have their own flight plans that come with it. So you can come up with your own flight plans, you can download, and you can follow the step for the flight plans, which is really cool. Which is super cool. Oh, and here's something else too. By the way, let me go ahead and disable something else. So on this little nav map here, you can actually do your own route plans too. So for example, let's say you wanted to do a route from Manila to, let's say, Hong Kong. You could also do something really simple like this. You just put the 2 coordinates. However, here's something really cool about this. You can actually do this. You can go down and go, you can import a flight plan, not just from your, you can export it from your little navmap plan, your XML file from SimBrief, or your own company routes. You can upload it from there and import it from there, or if you wanted to do quick, you can even fetch this from SimBrief. So what I like to do is upload, is to go on SimBrief, do the airline flights, and then import and then fetch that data from the SimBrief website onto the route flight plan, which is absolutely fantastic. And you can also do your own call sign and altitude. And boom, you got that set. Pretty cool. It's a cool little touch. Also, in addition to this as well, we also have your own airlines can do their own achievements for the virtual airlines. So your VA can do their own achievements and create their own stuff too. But it's way more than just VA stuff, by the way. You can search airports too. Let's do Sanford, for example, my home airport. My home international. So click this, and look at this. You got nearby activity. You can do nearby aerodromes. So these are all some of the aerodromes next to you. There's runway information, which includes ILS frequency as well. And here's one of my favorite parts about this. You can actually upload your own charts. You can upload charts here. I get them from ChartFox. and you can upload charts here. So let's say you want to know about the diagram in the airport. Boom. It posts up, and look at that. Airport diagram of KSDF. How would Firefly enforce complete higher hours while drink on gin? Good question. That's actually a good question. How they enforce it, I really don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, I think it just shows you this program has so much potential that, and we could do way more. And with Firefly Air, we don't have to do airliners. We could do GA flights, warbird flights, helicopters, cargo missions. I mean, the potential for Firefly Air is going to be absolutely insane. It's got crazy potential. It's crazy how much potential we all. Voluntary compliance. Yeah, I guess so too. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple more things from my slideshow. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys see the scenery out here while we do this. So let's talk first about the Philippines, and we got to talk about the economy of the Philippines. Now, the Philippines has recently been on the rise economically, as of the last couple of decades. It's recently been reindustrialized as a country, though agriculture is still the biggest sector with over 24.3 people employed in the labor force. But it's newly industrialized, and it's been transitioning from an agricultural economy to services manufacturing. In 2020, it produced a GDP of $367.4 billion, with their main exports being office machinery, integrated circuits, insulated wiring, transformers, and more. Their main currency is the Philippine peso, which is their own take of the peso. Currently, the unemployment rate as of October 2019 is 4.5%. Now, the country itself was affected by the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Now, one of the other major parts about the Philippine economy is a lot of the economy is built on the remittances of the overseas Filipinos. And basically what a remittance is a non-commercial transfer of money by a foreign worker to their home country. In fact, remittances in 2006 did 10.4% of the national GDP and economy. In terms of science and stuff, the science of the Philippines has been rapidly growing over the past decade or so. For example, in 1996, they got their first satellite, and just 20 years later, their first microsatellite, Diwata 1, was launched above the U.S. Cygnus spacecraft. Also, the Philippines is popular with text messaging. But the thing the Philippines is most well known for is that the Philippines actually are the world's top internet user, believe it or not. So yes, the internet's a huge deal in the Philippines. And currently, in last year, the Philippines was actually ranked 51st in the Global Innovation Index. And it will continue to be much more advanced as the Philippines economy keeps developing. They happen to take dollars too, yes, because the Philippines has a lot of U.S. influence. Yeah, remittances are a huge part of their economy. Yes, absolutely. Compared to a lot of other countries, remittances are huge. I completely agree. And then something that's also grown in recent years. Tourism has been a big deal recently, as tourism is very important for the Philippines, as it contributes 12.7% of their GDP in 2019. I mean, with over 6,641 islands, it is well known for its rich biodiversity as its main tourist attraction, as the Philippines have so many unique wildlife species, some of which you cannot find anywhere else outside of the Philippines. It's also well known for its beaches, a lot of its heritage towns, monuments, mountains, rainforest, islands, and diving spots are particularly its most popular tourist attractions. It's also rich in cultural and historical heritage, like its festivals and indigenous traditions. Now, some very popular tourist destinations include Cebu, Palawan, Tiargo, and Org. However, despite the large potential, it's lagged behind other Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia due to all the political, social issues in the Philippines. But the Philippines has gained many titles for its tourism. For example, the Center of Hispanic Asia. It was also known as the Pearl of the Orient Seas. It's also home to one of the new 7 wonders of the world of nature, the Puerto Princesa subterranean river, the heritage city of Vigan. It's also home to 6 other UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 9 different locations, 3 UNESCO biosphere reserves, and lots of different parks and heritage areas. So the Philippines is rich. It's rich. There's still somewhat of a moral, yes. I did mention there's still somewhat of a moral thing. I know they're dealing with it as of right now, but I know they've been working hard to deal with that problem for a couple years now. But yeah, the Philippines is dealing with kind of a few issues right now. Another issue is during the most recent election. So apparently the presidential election happened earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, and they elected Ferdinand Marcos Jr. And he's the son of the infamous Ferdinand Marcos, who is considered by many to be the most controversial leader in the history of the Philippines by a wide margin. Especially during his second term in office, when he became dictator and did martial law over the entire country. And apparently they also stole billions of pesos from the Filipinos. Like that's dictator stuff. Only in the Philippines where something this corrupt can happen. I don't want to talk about politics, but too much because, but that's what really happened. Yeah, they elected Bong Marcos. Let's not forget Imelda Shoes. Yes, Imelda Marcos. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. Speaking about tourism, the 10 most countries where people visit the Philippines include number 1 being South Korea, the U.S., China, Japan, Australia, Canada, Taiwan, the UK, Malaysia, and Singapore are top 10 of the countries that visit the Philippines the most. She was the governor of Metro Manila and just as bad as her husband. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, she's just as bad as her husband. Trust me, she's bad. Like the entire Marcos family is just corrupt to the core. Apparently, she's bought 3,000 pairs of shoes. She spent a lot of and she spent money on all that from the state. Yeah, there are a lot of great folks in the Philippines, though. Philippines is well known for their hospitality. The Philippines are definitely very famous for hospitality and stuff. I mean, that's why a lot of people do like visiting the Philippines. Their people. Yeah, great. Yeah, there are a lot of great folks in the Philippines. Like I said, the Philippines, I think, gets overlooked because of all the corruption. But I mean, the Philippines people are very rich in culture, very rich culture. They're strong values. They're hardworkingest. There have been a lot of great things in the Philippines, and I'll cover more of that next week. Actually, DC Viper. I'll cover more about the culture, and maybe talk about the history of Manila as well, and maybe even a bit of the Filipino language. Yeah, this area is it's just stunning. So, for my plans, on Sunday, I'll be doing a city tour of Rome. So, I'll be doing a tour of Rome, Italy. Last Sunday, I flew from Istanbul to Rome. From East Rome to West Rome, basically. Because there was so much history with Rome and the Vatican City that there was no way I was going to do it in 1 week. So I did 2. And then this Sunday, we'll be taking the little ultralight and tour the city of Rome. Get to see all the iconic Roman landmarks, like the Roman Pantheon, the Colosseum, Stadium Olimpico, the Roman Forum, Trajan Market. We'll be visiting all those iconic locations. And that would be a beautiful way to end that trip. And then next Wednesday, we're going to finish off the Philippine Island tour, flying through the Luzon Islands of Manila, also with Bagan and the rest. And that will be a great way to complete a beautiful journey through the Philippines. Rome is amazing. I keep trying to get Scarpatella and the Circus Maximus in the kit box. Yeah. Yeah, the Circus Maximus. That was actually a chariot racing stadium back in the day. Now, from back then, it was used to be one of the most popular sports in Rome. And apparently, they said this, according to how big the stadium was, it could seat up to 150,000 people, which is a lot, by the way. Even by today's standards, it's massive. It's a massive stadium still. In fact, the Roman Colosseum itself, that amphitheater, apparently, from what I read, it could hold up to 50,000 to 80,000 spectators throughout various points in history. So, I mean, that's very impressive even by today's standards. Okay, oh, it's near as large as the NASCAR track, even though the structure's long gone. Yeah, apparently a lot of the structure's been torn down and sacked. And apparently, here's the funny thing about the circus. So apparently, after the 6th century, that circus fell into decay. The lower levels actually were gradually buried by soil and debris. So in fact, the original track is actually buried 6 meters below the surface of the modern-day circus. And currently now, the Circus Maximus is a park used for concerts and stuff. Most of the marble that was facing the Vomit Amphitheater were built to build St. Pete's. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, they had to get the marble from somewhere, so obviously if they weren't using it, they just take the marble and build something off of it. And I mean, that's not a new practice. That's what they did for a lot of the areas built back in the day. So guys, we're about to reach let's go ahead and finish off. Let's go cross off the last 2 slides for today, and that would be it. Oh, and by the way, if you like what you're seeing, do check out my Discord. Click the link and you guys will be in my Discord, if you're so inclined. So let's go ahead and get those last 2 slides out of the way first. No, there were a lot of Roman buildings used as a source of building materials for the church. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. That's what I said earlier. They built a lot of this for the churches and stuff. So this here is Lepik, it's like Puzzle. This city is actually a component city in the capital of the province of Albay in the Philippines, around 209,533 people. The city itself consists of 2 districts, the Legazpi Port in the old Albay district. It's home to one of the most popular tourist destinations in the entire country. Mayon Volcano is within the city borders. Now, every year there's a festival known as the Ibalong Festival, a non-religious festival been held here. So that is this island here. There's some other things about the island I do know. One of the things this island is well known for is it's very competitive. In fact, it was ranked first overall among component cities according to the National Competitiveness Council. It's also got strong infrastructure, and it's a very business-friendly city in the Philippines. This thing was actually founded in 1616 by the Spanish. It was originally a fishing settlement known as Sawangan that occupied a lot of the mangrove swamps, and that eventually becomes the port. And apparently, during the Spanish colonial era, religious missionaries governed the settlement in the 1580s, and they often built quite a few churches as well, including one church, the St. Gregory the Great Cathedral here in the island. Then in 1814, Mount Mayon actually erupted, and it partially destroyed the entire city and buried quite a few of the ruins of some of the old churches and stuff. And they continued to rebuild the place even after the volcano was erupted back in the old days. And then they built the port of Legazpi, and they opened it to world trade, and as a result, it became a major port hub for a lot of the ships sailing to Mexico during the 16th century. And then after the fall of the Spanish, it was transferred into the Americans, as they actually captured the island in 1900 to defeat the revolutionary Filipinos. And following the occupation of the city, they split the city into two different towns, which became, and in 1922, the town of Daraga was split from the municipality. In World War II era, it was occupied by forces of the Japanese Army a few days after the attack of Pearl Harbor on December 12th. And they often use it as a forward base for fire aircraft as well. However, there was a lot of resistance to it by the Philippine Commonwealth Army to resist the Japanese, and it was liberated on January 1945. After the Philippines became independent, it became a city once again in 1948, and it has since been a really growing city here in the Philippines. But yeah, basically this area is known for a lot of tourism, mainly with Mount Mayon. Like, you can drive ATVs all over it. It's also home to lots of hotels, bars, and restaurants. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And then the Ibalon Festival is held here every August, and it actually exploits the three legendary heroes of Ibalon, and it's basically an indigenous holiday for the indigenous. So yeah, that's a bit about Lake Pazzi as well. Pretty cool. And finally, the last thing is the airport. Now currently, the main airport is actually Bicol International Airport, but since that's not in the sim, since that only opened in 2021, we're going to actually go over Lake Pazzi Airport. Now, this airport was closed on October 7, 2021. It was a major airport in the area. It had a single runway of 2,280 meters, or around 6,500 feet. It could handle civilian jets and military planes. And it used to provide routes to Cebu and Manila, are the main air routes in the Philippines they serve from. But because the fact it wasn't long enough, it was replaced by the new international airport, which can handle much bigger planes. So that's about it then. Unplayable. Yeah, unplayable. So that's it. That completes the entirety of the slides for today. So yeah, we're now going through actually one of the bays. This is actually Sorsogon Bay. So yeah. Yeah, the Honda Jet came out, which is definitely very exciting as well. The Honda Jet's out, which I think is going to be a very good plane. I'm very excited for the Honda Jet. It's about time we got a good business jet in the sim. I've heard it's got some bugs though. Yeah. GJ, good job. Yeah. Okay, there's Mount Mayan here. There it is. There's the big old mountain in the distance. But Marwan's put a lot of work into it, so I trust him to get it sorted. I agree. I mean, he's worked 3 years to get that sorted. I know it's got bugs, but I mean, it's a great plane. Okay, now, I forgot to put a slide on Mayan volcano. But Mount Mayan is actually a stratovolcano. It's still active, though. And it's a very popular tourist spot, known for its perfect cone, and is very sacred in Philippine mythology. It was a national park on July 20th, 1938, the first in the nation. And it's currently been nominated as a World Heritage Site, but it's a very important biosphere reserve. And it's actually the most active volcano in the country. And it's regularly monitored by the Philippine Institution of Volcanology and Seismology. So it's actually erupted 47 times in the past 500 years. The most destructive was all the way back in 1840. In fact, some say that this eruption, along with the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambaroa, it led to a year without the summer in 1816. Because of those nasty eruptions, and basically Mount Tambaroa was actually all the way in Indonesia. And then it also erupted in 1881, 1882. It's had many eruptions since then. But the most recent eruption was actually in 2013, which was a 73-second eruption, and it actually killed 5 climbers. So yeah, it's pretty crazy that this. There are far too many configurations that can cause something weird to happen. Yeah, like Microsoft Flight Sim has had some because of how Microsoft Flight Sim works. There's like you don't know when it works. Yeah, there is Mount Mayan here. But definitely one of the main landmarks here from our. So once we land here, we'll be going ahead and we'll end our stream. Question is who do you think I could probably raid? If I've already raided Angry One Horn the other day, so let's see. There's, like I said, there's some good options. going to go ahead and turn idle. So to our left is actually the new airport. There's the new airport to our left. Now, obviously, when this was in the sim, it was still currently being built. Is the new airport. There's the new international airport built right here. But the one we're playing in the sim is the old one. Idle. But man, this area's got so much natural beauty. Hey, XBMF Scruffy, Smurfy, good to have you here. Welcome. So we're about to make our final approach at Romeo Papa Lima Papa. This was leg 6 of the Philippines flight journey for FS Hub for Firefly Air. Currently doing one of the achievements for it. We're about to make the landing here. There's big old, now if you see that big old stratovolcano, that is Mount Moyen, the largest volcano in the Philippines, and it's the most active volcano in the country. It's erupted 47 times in 500 years. But yeah, this country, Smurfy, is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful area to fly. And I think it's one of my favorite countries in Asia to fly in the whole sim. It's amazing to fly over the Philippines. Like that country never gets the respect it deserves in the sim. Sure, it may not be nearly as, let's say, flashy, but I do think it's an absolute, it's a gem of a country. But yeah, we need more business jets. I agree with Rental. I completely agree. We need more business jets in the sim. We definitely need, again, the Cirrus jets would be good. The Cirrus Vision would be good. The Polaris PC-12 from Simworks Studios. I know they're working on the Polaris PC-12. I think it's a turboprop plane. I think a really good one. I know we technically also have another business jet. I know it's an airliner, but there's a Boeing business jet for PMDG. I mean, technically it's an airliner. Yeah, I think what was the PC? Okay. Our parking area is actually behind us, so we gotta turn around. Yeah, it was a good landing. Perfect landing on negative 137. That's perfect. Yeah, PC-12 is a turboprop. Oh, PC-24. Okay. It's easy to get track of losing names and all that. But yeah, this area of the Philippines is just, it's stunning. Let's go ahead and get this sorted. There we go. Boom. We got it done. Nicely done. Yeah, good job. Boeing Business Jet is also, yeah, it's a 737, but it's technically also a business jet because that's what they made it for. PC-24 was worked by Iris. Yep. Yeah, we have no info yet. I think they're still really busy working on it. So here's a business jet I would like to see in the sim. I think we should make an the Dassault Falcon 900EX Easy Someone needs to bring that one into the sim. I bet Fabio would have a field day with that plane, because he probably knows it. So let's go ahead and disable the engine. Let's turn off the engine. Put the propeller off. Engine controls off. Turn off pilot heat. Turn off that. Engine pumps off. Turn off alternator and turn off the battery. There. All right, let's get this thing locked down. Tie downs and shocks. And booyah! That should, okay, that's everything we need to know about that as well. And yeah, just a beautiful way to end today's trip, guys. This was a fantastic flight to the Philippines. So that completes legs 5 and 6 of our trip through the Visalas. What an absolutely incredible flight in the Philippines. Just incredible. And I gotta say, guys, thank you so much for coming on to today's trip. And I can't wait to see the next next couple updates. So let me give you an update about what's going on for the Sunday and next Wednesday. On Sunday, we'll be doing the Rome City Tour, touring around the city of Rome, all the historical landmarks like the Colosseum, the Roman Pantheon, and more. And the next Wednesday, we are going to complete the Philippine Island Hop Tour, going through the beautiful city of Manila, Bigon, and out right up to the beautiful Pacific coast of the Philippines. So, guys, thank you so much for today's stream. So, I think we're going to raid. Let's see who we're gonna raid. I've already raided Angry One Horn. I'm actually gonna go and raid someone else completely different. It's gonna be someone I've never raided before. I think we're going to actually raid a guy named Q8 Pilot actually is going to be here. Basically Q8 Pilot, for those who don't know, he's been around the flight sim community for years. He does a lot of stuff with X-Plane, but now he's been moving to Microsoft Flight Simulator. He does a lot of reviews and all that sort of stuff. So I think we should go check out his channel, shall we? So let's go ahead and rate Q8 Pilot. Let's go ahead and get his channel set up. And we're going to go ahead and rate his channel. He is the man. Oh. Oh wait, oh crap. He disabled the raids. So we're going to have to raid someone else then. Okay, let's go raid Jesus actually. Let's go raid Jesus at 15 then. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, he did an MSFS. Let's go ahead and raid Jesus F-15. He's flying the Honda Jet right now on VATSIM, so let's go check him out. So guys, thank you so much for the stream. I hope to see you guys on Sunday, guys. Take care, everyone. Viper Strike 95 is signing off. See you later, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.